Oh boy. Green salt, it's Max. JPS here. Don't you hate when it's late at night and you get on a rabbit trail and you just keep going? Now I gotta record the thing. I got too many web pages up. What am I gonna do? What got this thing going? Houston, we're getting a little thirsty up here. A little thing occurred to me is like it's all fun to look at the CGI that they put up there and all the camera tricks and all that stuff, and they're really good with it. That's not going to convince a lot of people that you can obviously run an astronaut around on wires and make it look like they're weightless. Might convince some people. Looking at a different aspect, it could have been covered by some other people, I don't know. Where are they getting all their water up there? Because they only cycle them guys out like once every 6 months because they don't want to vet and hire actors because some of them apparently go crazy and actually start telling the truth, and then they got to make up stories about them. But so these guys are up there for 4 to 6 months. What are they drinking? Way back in the day, back before the turn of the century, once upon a time I was a coal miner. No, I was a baker. Large baker and a cook. Large volumes of stuff for supermarket. And they do everything by weights. That's how I know a gallon of water weighs 8 pounds. All of the baker's gallons of water, their measuring devices, they're all divided up into 2-pound increments up to a gallon, which is roughly 8 pounds. Let's take a look here what the old ISS has got going on. Currently, this is right here according to nasa.gov. Currently, each astronaut aboard the International Space Station uses about 3 gallons of water daily. The average American uses 35 gallons of water daily. I don't know where they get that, but I'm going to go with those numbers. 3 gallons a day. This is drinking, hydrating all their food. If they choose to bathe in any sort, washing their hands, using the toilet, doing stupid experiments for children in their CGI land, whatever they're doing. So 3 gallons. There's 6 people, 6 on the ISS. Okay? How do they get it? It's $1,800 per pound to get it up there. And they're taking it up there with their, I guess they say Elon Musk when he's not faking shooting cars into space. Amazingly, that space car held up a lot better than the one his riot car did here on Earth. Pretty funny. So when he's not shooting space cars up there, he is apparently carrying and ferrying supplies up to the space station. It's funny, you look at the old launch record of his stuff, and it's only about once a year. And then, of course, the Russians are up there too, and they're going about once a year, sometimes a little more. They're not just going to the space station, though. They launch rockets to do other things, so they say. So about every 4 to 6 months, you're getting a shuttle up there. And it says here, well, they have a reclamation device, so they're not really using any water. Oh yeah, they're drinking their pee up there. Didn't you know? They make a big deal. Any article you look up about what they get used for water up there, it's all their pee. They do nothing else but drink urine. This article here says that U.S. system collects condensate runoff and urine to create about 3.6 gallons of drinkable water per day. Out of everybody. Okay, so you've got 6 people up there, and out of all those people, you get 3.6 gallons per day when they're using about 20 gallons a day. Okay. They say the Russian astronauts drink water processed only from shower runoff and condensate, skipping the urine. Okay. Producing slightly less than 3.6 gallons. How could it be slightly less if they don't process urine? Okay. I'll just say it's 3 for each. Okay. The Russians will redo 3 gallons, and then the USA guys, they get 3 gallons. So apparently an astronaut uses 3 gallons per day per astronaut. So we have 6 gallons. We'll just take 2 astronauts off the table. Okay? So now, even though there's 6 up there, because of water reclamation, we're going to go with 4. Totally fair. I'm flubbing the numbers way in favor of NASA here. Way in favor. $1,800 per pound, not like money really means anything, right? So one of the things that they're sending up here is called the SpaceX Dragon. That's the thing that they're supposedly taking. Now, it must have a massive, massive payload for all the water these guys are drinking. Because if we pull up Mr. Calculator here, right? Pull up Mr. Calculator. Now, 3 gallons a day per person. And we're going to go with 4 astronauts, not 6, because of water reclamation. Okay. So we're going to do 3 gallons times the 4 astronauts. Of course, we're getting 12. 12 gallons per day. And then we'll go for every 6 months in between these launches. Okay, they go up there and they resupply, and then they swap out crew members, and they resupply the food, and they do all this other stuff. Every 6 months, roughly. So we're timesing this times 180 days. So 2,160 gallons is what they're going to go through. 2,160 gallons. Doesn't sound too bad. Sounds like it, they're really not using that much. We got to think, we're trying to get this stuff into space though. So how much is it for a gallon? What does a gallon weigh? 8 pounds. So 2,160 gallons times 8 pounds. 17,280 pounds of nothing but water. Nothing but water. And that's for only 4 guys. Where is this water up there? I watched the whole 40-minute video of the guy doing the tour of the space station. And he went through and says, oh, this is the Soyuz, and this is the rocket I came up on. Not once did I see a water tank. They have to have a water tank big enough for 17,280 pounds worth of water. Where is it? How did they get it up there? How are they continuing to carry it up there? 17,280 pounds. All right. Let's look at their SpaceX Dragon. The Dragon can do it. Elon can do it. You can get a car up there. You can get a car up there, which only weighs 3,000 pounds. SpaceX Dragon, Wikipedia. Dry mass, 9,262 pounds, no cargo. Payload capacity, 13,000 pounds. 13,000 pounds? Well, how does that work? It's not enough. It doesn't carry enough water for these guys. If you filled SpaceX to the brim with nothing but water, they'd have to send another rocket just to top them off. Nothing but water. I have the Soyuz. We can pull up the Soyuz. The Soyuz only, this is 6,000 kilograms. The Soyuz rockets they send up say they can only carry 2,000 kilograms. So 1/3 of their 13,000 pounds. What is that? 13,000 pounds, it would be 4,500 pounds? Yeah. So they could basically send a Tesla up full of water. Rabbit trails, the rabbit trails. Russian cargo ship brings needed supplies and equipment to space station. I think this just happened. It says July 23rd. It is now the 24th. So look at this. I'm Johnny on the spot. See? I'm quick on the rabbit trails. An unpiloted Russian Progress space freighter loaded with nearly 3 tons, only 3 tons, 3 tons of supplies. Okay, so 9,000 pounds. And equipment bound for International Space Station blasted off, blah, 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 in Kazakhstan. Okay. So now they're going through and making a story, because this is the American side where they make a nice little story about the heroic unmanned, mind you. This is all remote control. They launch a rocket and the rocket can figure out where the space station is and get into orbit right. And apparently they only manually dock when it's really close. The Russians, okay? The Russians. Do you think that we would let them autopilot just a regular old airplane to land on our airstrips here in America, the Russians? But yet we're going to let them launch an automated rocket. Sure you are. Sure you are. I mean, it's a good thing it's fake. Otherwise, nobody would survive that event. So, what do we have here? I forgot what else I was going to talk about in here. Oh, we got people flying around. There was something else in that article, but for the sake of time, I will skip it. And we're going to go here to the Orlando Sentinel. This is a little bit more probably what the Russian press release was like. Russian cargo ship launched. An uncrewed Russian cargo ship lifted off Thursday to deliver a load of supplies to the International Space Station. Launched on schedule. Everything is beautiful. The ship is carrying 3 tons of fuel, water, food, medicine, and other supplies. They got the COVID up there on the space station. You're sending a cargo ship with medicine. Is it going to stop off in Syria? Huh? Doesn't Russia need the medicine more than the 6 people on the space station? We sent you your food and water, and don't worry, Tammy, we got you a bottle of Midol or whatever. We'll make sure that makes the press release. Medicine. Space headaches. Right? Right. I thought that was kind of funny. So anyways, here we have comparison of space station cargo vehicles. I'm guessing the progress here is the ones that there's, I mean, it's hard to get a solid number on here. And then they just go way off the scale and just try to be hilarious. But the Russian stuff is all around 2,000 kilograms, which we figured out was what? Isn't that 2.2 pounds to a kilogram? So 4,500 pounds or something. Someone who's not an American or something can tell me all about how many pounds to kilograms, but that seems like I did the math before on that. So it's like half the size of what they say the SpaceX is doing. Still not anywhere near enough just to carry water. Okay, and then down here we get goofy with the stuff that's planned yet and isn't out. Their target for Starship cargo from USA and SpaceX. These are all like legit corporations that have been doing this for a long time. And then you have SpaceX super heavy carrier down here, and they're going to go for 120,000 kilograms. That doesn't sound very reasonable. You're going to send a rocket up that's like what, almost 300,000 pounds. That doesn't sound very feasible, but it's all smoke and mirrors, I guess. Sure. The Soyuz MS. So this one's got its launch mass on here at 15,000 pounds, but then it's only like 5,000 of that's going to be its cargo. Again, you know, we're going to work with Mr. Calculator and math. And these are numbers that come from NASA. Okay. Obviously, the payload size is coming from Wikipedia, but where are they getting the info from? Even if you like double the payload size, you still don't have enough room for water, because you got to get food and astronauts and everything else that people need up there. Okay? And I haven't even gotten to the best part. The astronauts themselves use 3 gallons of water a day. Just the astronauts themselves. We're not talking about any of the systems that are up there. Like how they breathe. That's where they get their air. Electrolysis with the water. Where does that water come from? How much does that take? How much water do you have to burn in order to make an atmosphere you can breathe in? I bet it's a lot. Because you're getting 2 hydrogen atoms for every 1 oxygen. And where are you getting the power to do that? Them solar panels are doing that for you? Electrolysis around the clock? Okay. Okay, that's another topic. We'll skip that for right now. So anyways, I go and search ISS Water Storage because I want to know what kind of tanks and where they are in the thing so I can keep an eye out for them right. And all they want to talk about is water reclamation systems when people wondering where they're getting their water from. Oh, we water reclamation. Well, at most you're getting 6 gallons a day from reclamation and you're using like 4 times that much. You got to get water up there. It's all they want to talk about in every single one of these links. Except I found one that I thought was hilarious. Let's take a look at this one. NASAspaceflight.com. This is where all the nerdy guys out there, they love NASA and they love their Star Trek. And they just won't let it die. These are the guys that'll argue with you on the forums. These are the guys that'll come to your channel and go, you don't know what you're talking about. Earth is obviously round because look at Pluto and Saturn. Right? We send spaceships up all the time. Okay. This is hilarious. All right. Topic: retired space shuttles water tanks removed for the ISS. They're stripping down parts from a 40-year-old space shuttle so they can strap the parts like Mad Max up into space. NASA's $50+ million a day, and they can't afford new water tanks? NASA Space Shuttle Endeavour retired and on exhibit. It's in a flippin' museum. It's in a museum. Exhibit in Los Angeles for the past 3 years has been called back into service, or rather the parts have, for the benefit of the International Space Station. It's like, just is keeping it on life support. Keep it on life support. The NASA team is working this week, California Science, to remove the 4 tanks from deep inside the winged orbiter, comprise a water storage system for the space station. The reactivated artifacts, they call them artifacts, are intended to help free more crew time for science operations aboard the orbiting outpost by reducing the astronauts' involvement and refilling their water reserves. It's a prop, guys. It's a prop. They want to show us, people are asking questions about where they store their water, and they didn't have a prop on board the station. They didn't have one. And they're like, we got a prop in the Endeavour. Where is that? It's in the museum. Well, no one will notice, so just get those tanks and we'll bring them over here, and people will cheer because we're being earth conscious and recycling, right? Do you think that sounds stupid? Do you think that sounds stupid? Okay, fanboys. Okay, fanboys. Okay, fanboys. J. Macaulay. I appreciate how nice it is to see the shuttle hardware flying again. 40-year-old tanks. Okay? These space shuttles were built in the 80s. But it feels to me like an indicator of how bad things have gotten in America's spaceflight. Terrible. Scavenging 25-year-old water tanks, now 35-year-old water tanks, from a museum piece to expand the capacity of the ISS. Please tell me we're not that hard up for cash, the United States manned space effort. This feels like the dark days of shuttle right before Challenger, when crews were regularly borrowing parts from one orbiter to get one ready for flight. Are people this deranged and deluded? Do you think that's what's going on? We can't afford to produce a set of new water tanks for the ISS. We really ought to rethink what we're doing. We need to buy that guy, Jim McCauley there, J.M. McCauley, you need to buy him a padded helmet. He shouldn't be allowed anywhere near the internet. And, you know, that's the kind of person who believes the cartoons in space. He actually believes that they're going to take 30 to 40-year-old water tanks from a shuttle in a museum and fly them up to the space station, and the astronaut guys that are up there are going to put their plumber belt on and just plug them into the water system. Just plug them in. Hey, I got my space pipe wrench. I'm ready to go. I'm making this stuff up. Told you it's rabbit trails. You got to start these rabbit trails like way earlier. I'm finding that out. What are we, like 3 in the morning? Yeah. But one thing leads to another. This is Rabbit Trail episode 1. Science ABC. How does the ISS get breathable oxygen? Remember now, they don't have enough water to drink up there, but they're also burning it up so they can get oxygen. Okay? The ISS is a manned satellite, blah, 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 blah. 5 to 6 astronauts, blah, blah, blah. Here's our lovely CGI picture that's on everybody's screensaver on the ISS. Yes. Needless to say, there are a number of life support systems aboard. The 3 most important things are water, food, and oxygen. Electrolysis of water, they explain how you do it. You run a direct current effectively through water, and you're going to get hydrolysis, I think they call it, electrolysis, they call it. And here it says you've got 2 molecules of hydrogen and 1 molecule of oxygen. They go on to say that they basically just piss the hydrogen out the side because hydrogen is very explosive and you can't use it. Well, here's the other thing is oxygen is very explosive too. All right? So we'll just say they got enough water for doing all this and they're filling their boat up with oxygen. Where are they getting the nitrogen from? I'm realizing they're probably running a very high oxygen environment, which causes other problems because I used to work at a refinery in fugitive emissions and leak detection and repair. We have this thing called intrinsically safe, where if you're in an environment with flammable gas, all the equipment you use has to be impossible to start a fire regardless of the situation. And I had a Ghostbuster pack that had a flame in it, and that's how you tested for leaks. Because if it burned, it was leaking. Intrinsically safe. So in here it tells you that, you know, your hydrogen gets pissed out. Your oxygen's filling up your thing. And in here they say they have like nitrogen bottles or something that they have to open. And like, how many of those do you go through? I realize you're not burning up oxygen, but every time that you inhale, exhale, breathe, your nitrogen is used for stuff. It's just not unlimited, right? You got to bring that up there. Or else, unless you want to tell me you're running like 50% oxygen in your space station, which is probably not the case. Here we have what intrinsically safe is. But I'm just curious about that because here we have the nice man here with his big giant Freemason ring. Probably a Mormon. This is making me mad that it's not. I guess I gotta zoom it out. Here we go. And we have what's clearly here an IBM normal laptop computer that you would purchase from Best Buy. You can even see the little DVD thing. Why you would need that, I don't know. Apparently they have fantastic internet in the ISS. So we got a regular old laptop in a high oxygen environment. Unless they with the lack of water, they also are bringing up nitrogen bottles with them too. See, for 6 months at a time, because we don't want to replace Mr. Freemason, dude. We only got so many of them. They all need to be abused, and they all need to be molested and humiliated, and then filmed to make sure that none of these people ever talk, right? And it takes a lot of work to do that. Otherwise, you get like a Buzz Aldrin who says something stupid to a kid like, we never went to the moon. And, we really need to think about why we didn't go and why we haven't been back or revisited it, right? People start to lose their marbles when they get in their upper 80s and they start actually telling the truth. We can't have too many of those guys running around. So we got to keep them up there for 6 months. Get them plenty. I mean, and you got to have a rocket for the hairspray alone, an entire rocket for the hairspray. Okay. You guys can go out there and, people who are the detractors can go out and believe you got an app on your phone and the little light in the sky is the space station. And there's 6 little idiots up there running around with their Freemason rings, drinking their own urine and loving it. Okay? Out of tanks, water tanks that are 30 years old, ripped out of the space shuttle like Mad Max because NASA can't afford to build new ones. And the Freemason astronauts are also plumbers who can fit all that into the ISS no problem. I got a space wrench and I can fix it because this is Star Trek. We got Geordi LaForge up there to fix everything. Anyways, that's what I got for that. Thought you would enjoy it. This has been, I guess, Rabbit Trail episode 1. And with that, we are out of here.